We have a lot to catch up on today as the Nintendo Switch 2 is being shipped out and retailers are starting to receive it. We've gotten so many images over the past 24 hours of people working at their local Walmart, their Target, whatever, and seeing just, dozens of these things in the back room, which is really exciting and is making the launch of this console feel all the more real. We are only, 9 days away at the time of recording. Absolutely cannot wait. And with these new looks at the packaging, a whole separate controversy has started regarding the naming and the branding of this console on the box. A lot of people think that regular consumers will say going into the store are going to be confused about which Nintendo Switch to buy, even though there's a big 2 on the box, but we'll talk about that. Dragon Quest 1 and 2 HD are confirmed for Nintendo Switch 2, and we have a release date for the game. We have concrete information on the Fantasy Life I Switch 2 version. We now have a release date as well as pricing for the Switch upgrade. If you already own on Switch 1, we now know how much it's going to cost, and it is cheaper than I think anybody would have expected. And then to close things off, we have a new rumor suggesting that Lies of P, the Souls-like from NeoWiz, might indeed be coming to the Switch 2. I love that game. I would love to see it come to Switch 2, so we're going to talk about that as well. Of course, if you are new here and you enjoy Nintendo Switch 2 news, coverage, reviews, all that fun stuff, I would appreciate you liking the video and subscribing. Let's get into it. Alrighty folks, welcome back to the channel. I hope your morning is going well. So the first thing I want to cover today is just the influx of retailers getting the product in, the Switch 2 itself, as well as the games, and all of the images that are popping up online from employees that work in the back rooms. We've seen so many posts on Reddit and on Twitter and stuff, and it's just like, this is simple, right? It doesn't really matter. It's like, oh yeah, of course, there's going to be a bunch of these in the back room. However, it made it really sink in for me that the thing is coming out. We're 9 days away, 8 days away, depending on where you are, from the next generation of Nintendo. After all of the years of speculation and anticipation waiting for Nintendo to announce it, to the reveal in January, to the Direct in April, to here we are at the end of May, and it's here. It's being shipped out. It's so exciting to see. So we had a lot of different images pop up, more than I can really show in just this video, to be honest. It's just so cool to see. So here's this user, BumDum, on r/Nintendo Switch 2. They posted their back room here with tons of images. They got a ton of the Mario Kart World bundle in at their store, as well as the regular bundle down there. There's the back of the box. I'm not sure if we'd actually even seen that. Probably at the museum or in the Nintendo Today app or something like that. But we have the front and the back. We will be talking about the branding on this box because that sparked a lot of controversy over the past couple of days. A lot of copies of Mario Kart World available here. The box art's growing on me. I gotta be honest. I was so against it when it first popped up. I was like, oh, it's so ugly. And Mario Kart World's certainly one of the better examples because it doesn't have the game key card warning. It doesn't have the Nintendo Switch 2 edition warning. The banner up here is still really dumb and how it's like centered and small. I get they wanted to differentiate it from the Switch 1 packaging, but I don't know. They could have just made it a square and then put that on the right if they wanted to make it like different from Switch 1. And then also the cases are red, so that's pretty different. But the cases are kind of growing on me a little bit. I'm warming up just a tad. I cannot wait to get my hands on these copies of these games. Tears of the Kingdom also has a lot of copies, interestingly. I mean, I guess this is probably like, what, 20 copies or so? Who knows how many copies Tears of the Kingdom is going to sell physically. I can't imagine that many on launch day. Over time it will, of course, but on launch day, how many people are really buying it when you can get the upgrade? Because the people buying it on launch day are diehard Nintendo fans that already had the game. They'll have either NSO that gives you the free update or they'll pay the $10 upgrade. So I can't imagine that many people are going to be buying Breath of the Wild and Tears physically on Switch 2, unless you're a collector like me. I'm going to buy it physically. There was also this image floating around. This is from a Target, I'm pretty sure, where they have those carts that are locked up. But yeah, I don't know where this Target was, but they were just rolling around the Switch 2s in a metal locked crate. This feels like a disaster waiting to happen. Someone's going to see this and just, push it out the door and just run with it. And assuming they don't get tackled beforehand. But yeah, Target's getting their stock ready. Someone also posted this image of their store getting the Split Fiction copies in. Of course, this is a code and box release. So kind of just a waste of plastic. Very strange that EA is doing this. You couldn't even do a game key card. Such a disappointment. Game key cards, I've made my stance on very clear. I don't have that big of an issue with them, but also like, why are you doing a download code when there is a game key card option? It just just makes no sense to me from EA's standpoint. But we have Split Fiction there, and there was also this video here of someone showing off all of the different angles of the Switch 2 box as well. It's a lot smaller than I thought it would be, and that brings us to our first major topic of the video, and that is the Switch 2 box too similar to the Switch OLED box. So Beat 'em Ups had posted this. It was from a Hong Kong retailer, I think, that had gotten it in and were showing it off on their Instagram. But it's this image comparing the size of the Switch 2 box versus the Switch OLED. And he says, "Call me crazy, but this packaging is far too similar and a bit confusing for the general public." And this tweet sparked a lot of controversy and outrage. Really just a lot of debate between both sides of the camp of, is the Switch 2 a good name? Is the packaging good? Will regular people going into a Walmart or Target be able to tell the difference? How many people are going to accidentally end up with a Switch OLED for Christmas when they ask for a Switch 2? That kind of thing. And as you can see, I mean, his tweet has 6.9k likes. Even Player Essence, top reply, has almost double that, right? And just saying there's a big 2 on the box, though. So here's the thing. I've worked retail. I know people can be pretty dumb. However, I just feel like it's funny. We spent so long arguing over what the name of the console would be. And back then, pre-January reveal, a big talking point was they would call it the Nintendo Switch 2 to avoid any confusion regarding the name of the console and what it actually is. They won't repeat the Wii U and call it the Switch U, right? They're going to be very straightforward and call it Switch 2 so people know, just like a PlayStation, this is the next Nintendo Switch. It is the Switch 2. It is the second iteration. And now, because I guess the box is similar, we're back to square one where people are like, well, actually, this isn't good enough. The boxes aren't different enough. And to be fair, I was thinking about this. With PlayStation 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, they actually did change the box up quite a bit. Every PlayStation box looks very different. And also, PlayStation has the benefit of each console looking significantly different as well. PS3 versus PS4 versus PS5. Those all look completely different. PS5 especially. Whereas the Switch 2 does look very similar to the Switch OLED and the Switch as a whole. So I'll be honest, I don't really agree with beat 'em ups and all the people saying that customers will be confused across the board. However, playing devil's advocate, it is a little strange that Nintendo didn't change the packaging up more. We were talking about the box arts here and how seemingly they changed the banner to make it obvious that this is not a Switch 1 game. They made it across the entire top. They made it say Switch 2 right there, obviously. So I thought that's what they did that for. They could have changed the Switch 2 box a lot more to make it clear that it is not just another Nintendo Switch. However, it's literally a big 2 on it. If someone walks into a store, if they go to GameStop, little Timmy asked them for a Christmas present, and they said, "Hey, I want a Switch 2 for Christmas, Grandma," and Grandma goes to GameStop and accidentally buys a Switch OLED, that, at that point, at that level, I don't think there's anything Nintendo could do, or any company in this situation could do, to not confuse that person that is completely out of their depth when it comes to, you know, buying a console. That's pretty clear. There's a big 2 on it. If their grandson or their child, whoever you're getting the present for, the person that doesn't play games that much, if they see these on a shelf and don't immediately think, okay, this one on the left here is better because it's the second one, then that's a fundamental issue that Nintendo really can't control. You know, now, will they know the specifics of why the Switch 2 is necessary or why their child should get it over the Switch 1? No, that's for the GameStop salesman to pitch them and really tell them what exactly is going on here. But I don't know, man. iPhones all look the same. All the boxes look the same. PlayStation, while the boxes look different, are still just, you know, PlayStation 3, 4, 5. And like I said, earlier this year, people were, you know, we were arguing like, yeah, it's going to be called Switch 2 because they don't want to repeat the Wii U. But now that it's called Switch 2, and I guess just because the packaging looks very similar, to be fair, we're saying this is bad. I don't know. It just feels weird to me. I do think they maybe could have used a different shade of red or something. This is the Nintendo red now, though, you know, for so long, I mean, Nintendo's been red, even on, like, the Wii, with, like, the Mario Anniversary stuff, they would use red, they had the red Wii, but then the Wii U and 3DS were kind of, like, blue and white themes, and now, with the Switch, it's been red ever since. Nintendo's brand identity is red. However, I think they could have made this white or something, right? Maybe make this white, maybe make the back of it redder or something just to differentiate it more. Because to beat 'em up's point, the boxes look similar. There's no denying that. But one of them has a big 2 on it, so I don't think it's an issue. But let me know what you think of this in the comments down below. Do you think the packaging for the Switch 2 is too similar to the Switch OLED? It is similar. There's no denying that. I just think the percentage of people that will be asked for a Switch 2 for a gift, or for the people that are looking for a gift for Christmas for their, you know, like I said, child, the percentage of people that will actually be confused is pretty low at this point, especially when so much purchasing in America, at least, is done online at this point. We're not talking about even the Wii U in 2012 where a lot of that stuff was done in person. Yeah, people will go to a store and buy a Switch 2, no doubt. But like, you're going to go to bestbuy.com and search Nintendo Switch 2 if the kid puts it on their Christmas list, that kind of thing, right? So I don't know. I don't really think it's an issue, but let me know what you think in the comments down below. Do you think they should have swapped it up a little bit more, made it more visually distinct from the Nintendo Switch? And like I said, with the PlayStation, they had the advantage of every PlayStation looking different, like the actual hardware itself. The Switch, if they wanted to keep the same form factor, there wasn't much they could do to change it. But yeah, let me know what you think in the comments down below of this entire debacle. People have been arguing about this for literally the entire weekend. Okay, next up, we got some nice news for Dragon Quest fans because it is Dragon Quest Day. Happy Dragon Quest Day to you if you celebrate. I'm very excited about this. So we finally have a release date for Dragon Quest 1 and 2 HD Remake following the 3 remake. It is releasing on October 30th for Switch, PS5, PS4, Steam, all that stuff. And notably, they have added a Switch 2 version. I had been saying this for a while now, but it was going to be kind of weird if this didn't have a native Switch 2 version. Well, we finally know that will be coming alongside the other versions on October 30th, and it actually sounds like Dragon Quest 3 HD might also be getting some sorts of patch or update for Switch 2 to help with the performance. As far as I'm aware, the Switch version of that game ran at 30, whereas on PS5 and other platforms it ran at 60. So if they brought a Switch 2 patch over for Dragon Quest 3 as well, that would be great. But Go Nintendo caught something pretty interesting, and that is on the official Japanese website. On there, they mentioned that there will be a Dragon Quest HD 2D Remake Trilogy available as one purchase for Switch and Switch 2, priced at roughly $90. So this does suggest a Switch 2 version of DQ3, which is awesome. However, there is some bad news for the physical collectors out there. Square Enix, we already know with Bravely Default Flying Fairy HD Remaster on launch day, that's going to be a game key card. Well, they're already getting ahead of it now with Dragon Quest 1 and 2. They've already made it clear that it's going to be a game key card in Japan, as you can see here, but also in America with this image. So if you want to pick up Dragon Quest 1 and 2 HD, there will be a physical option, air quotes, on store shelves in October for Switch 2, but also a regular physical for Switch 1 and PS5, of course. 17 gig download for this game. I'm very excited for it. Game key card news aside, I really enjoyed Dragon Quest 3 last year, and I definitely look forward to playing this one when it releases in October. Great time frame, too. As of right now, October is honestly looking pretty empty for me. I'm sure a lot of games will start slotting in as we approach SGF next week, but still, late October, that's a pretty good time frame. I hope Square Enix doesn't announce a bunch of games for that same week or month. They tend to do that at the end of the year, just put out a bunch of games. Right now, they don't have much dated or even announced. Maybe Final Fantasy VII Remake could be in November or something, but yeah, pretty excited for this. Let me know in the comments down below if you're planning on checking out Dragon Quest 1 and 2 HD 2D on a Switch 2. Good timing on this one from Level 5. This news literally broke as I was recording the other segments of today's video, but we now have the release date and pricing for Fantasy Life I, The Girl Who Steals Time, Nintendo Switch 2 edition. This game is blowing up right now. It already passed 500k copies sold, which is just huge for a game like this. Huge success. I've been hearing great things about it. Really eager to get my hands on it and give it a go. Well, they had announced a Switch 2 version a couple of weeks ago, and we all thought it was kind of weird, like, why'd you announce this without a date? And it feels even weirder now because they confirmed this morning that it is going to be releasing on June 5th. The Switch 2 version of Fantasy Life is coming out on the same day as the console. We have a secret launch title now. There is another launch title for Switch 2 that we did not know about, and it is Fantasy Life. And there will be an upgrade pack, and we know the pricing for it. And as you can see here, the pricing for the upgrade, if you already own it on Switch 1, is $2.59. I'm not complaining. That's a great deal. But also, like, at that point, why not just make it free? It feels a little weird to be like, yeah, no, we need to charge $2. Like, I don't know, man. Just make it free. That's so little. But hey, I'm not complaining. It's cool that this is a launch title. They say this enhanced version takes full advantage of the hardware's capabilities, offering significant improvements, reduced load times, improved graphics, and frame rates. I've heard there's some iffy performance stuff with the Switch version. I definitely saw that in the reveal trailer, or a trailer in one of the Nintendo Directs not too long ago. This is a weird line here. They say, quote, when playing the Nintendo Switch 2 edition on a Nintendo Switch, features and performance will be in line with the Nintendo Switch version. I don't know. Level 5 just be saying stuff sometimes, so I don't even know if I can fully believe what they're saying there. They say there's no plans for the Digital Deluxe specifically for Switch 2, so if you want that, buy it on Switch 1, then get the upgrade pack. So not too bad, $62 for the Switch 2 edition of this game. We do have some graphics comparisons here, kind of showing off the resolution bump that this version has. It would be nice if there was a video showing the frame rate, but Considering the Switch 2 is so much more powerful, I would hope it's a lot more in line with the PS5 release of this game as well as the Steam release. So yeah, very exciting. I know this game is huge right now. I'm definitely going to be checking this out. Maybe not on launch day because there's so much other stuff coming out that I want to play, but sometime in June, I want to get my hands on Fantasy Life I because the hype, man, the hype is real for this game. And then finally, as is tradition, every Switch 2 news video I post has to have some sort of random third-party port rumor. Well, we had a post from Nash Weedle over the weekend, says, Leak Express, I can confirm that a Lies of P port for Switch 2 is in the works. Their announcement seems like it could be made in June, but it depends on, quote, some factors in the port's development as they want to reveal a release date. Great news if this is real. Nash Weedle, you know, hit or miss for sure. Lies of P is a game I've not finished, but I played a lot of earlier this year, and it is really good. It is the closest I have felt to a true Souls-like experience that isn't developed by From Software, especially if you like Bloodborne. Bloodborne, I love Bloodborne. It is Bloodborne. It really feels like I'm playing Bloodborne when I play Lies of P, and the setting's really cool. So if it gets a Switch 2 port, that would be awesome. More people playing a great game is never a bad thing. The way they say this is a little weird to me. I mean, it's the end of May. He tweeted this on May 25th. I feel like if it's getting announced in June, they would have known by now. There is that big DLC coming out. I can't remember the name of it, but that's coming out this summer. Ideally, a Switch 2 port would maybe launch alongside that in like July or something. But if they're still unsure about the port's development right now and the release dates, I don't know. It feels weird that we're talking about the game potentially being announced in a couple of weeks when they're at the end of May still trying to figure out when it's releasing. I don't know. I'm not sure if I believe this specific rumor from Nash Weedle, but I can believe that Lies of P will come over to Switch 2 eventually. And I mean, they would be right at home there. They'll get ahead of Elden Ring, which is coming out later this year. If they can get it out before Elden Ring, ideally. And kind of be like the first Souls-like on the Switch 2, and you know, it'll run a lot better than Dark Souls did on Switch 1. If you have not played Lies of P and you like Souls stuff, I really can't recommend it enough. It is a fantastic game. So that is going to do it for today's video. Let me know what you think of all the stories we discussed in the comments down below. How do you feel about the Switch 2 being imminent? I mean, retailers are getting them in. It feels real now. We're actually at that point where the Switch 2 is going to start being shipped out, and people are going to get it early, that kind of thing. So very exciting there. How do you feel about the Switch 2 box looking so similar to the Switch OLED? A lot of talk about that over the past couple of days. Dragon Quest 1 and 2 HD have a release date and a Switch 2 version announced. Fantasy Life I is a secret launch title for Switch 2, and well, it looks like Lies of P might be coming to Switch 2. Let me know your thoughts on all of that in the comments down below. Of course, subscribe here for more Nintendo Switch 2 news coverage, discussion, all that fun stuff. Follow me on Twitter at BoTalksGames. Check out my other channel at It's Amiibo, where I cover Nintendo collecting content. Lots of Switch 2 coverage planned over there in June. And as always, you can click on one of these two videos to listen to me ramble about even more Nintendo stuff. Until next time, folks, peace.